Hi everyone, I'm Airier, and today we're going to finish the TexTalks BattleTech's Primer to the Clans, Exodus to Elementals, Part 1. Now, because I just had wisdom teeth removed, I am unable to treat this video to the lack of sobriety it deserves. Yeah, we're going to be doing this sober. God help us. I don't know what's in store for me because I made a point to avoid all spoilers by looking up Sarna or any of the comments trying to explain it to me, but also at the same time looking at them, but trying to skip over anything that might be about this time period because on the one hand, anything about later time periods is really cool. On the other hand, I am certain I will forget because my memory is shit, so it's safe. Otherwise, we're just going to jump right in. You guys know the deal. There's a link below to the original video. It's Tex. It's the Black Pants Legion. Oh, I actually said that without getting tongue-tied. Nice. Hit them up. They're awesome. And when you're done, don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe. And let's get started. And tell me just how much I need to be unsober for part 2 of this. Oh, God.
And while the scale of the Exodus Civil War may have been small, considering it was a small population to start with,
higher percentage killed,
weighing that with the sheer amount of combat experience common throughout the population contained within the Exodus, coupled with the disproportionately immense amount of firepower at their disposal, casualty numbers were accordingly horrific. The Exodus Civil War had destroyed roughly half the population and reduced the former colonies to total ruin. That's not to
half. That is... I know they're trying to play up the fact that this is a horrible war, but half. To give people an idea why I'm freaking out, 10% losses is considered such a strategic failure that any army that understands that and loses that much loses. Not just a little bit. It's like a complete and utter disaster of a rout. It is the kind of battle that is so one-sided. You would look at Custer's Last Stand and think, wow, that guy has the right idea. Because he only lost his own unit, not half of the entire force he represented. This would be as if the Amara Civil War killed half the galaxy. Hopefully we the Kurita half and the Lao half. Honestly, even more Kurita though, just because I'm not biased. That is... Suddenly it makes more sense why they're instituting the entire idea of, yeah, we're going to take a radically different option because... Fuck. I'm sorry, half is just obscene. Also, I have no idea what this mech is. I thought it'd be an awesome at first, but it looks just too human in the torso, oddly enough. It's just weird. Also, wow, that catapult is really beaky. That is distinct.
To say Nicholas Kerensky's conquest of these worlds went without significant effort or casualties. The stakes were high. His numbers were limited. But this was
probably not his half because he had so few, but still.
Ideology, and if they failed, their belief system would be proven insufficient.
I mean, it is,
no
but
doubt the survivors of that would, in fashion.
A rare example of a frontline catapult not dying. Yeah. On the other hand, maybe it's just me. I've had good luck with frontline catapults. Mostly because I had something bigger and scarier a lot closer to the enemy, so they were shooting it instead. But we're going to ignore that obvious fact of just random luck.
Turn on each other. If they
although they are shooting with
however,
that little
they would forge a stronger society than they had ever enjoyed since leaving the inner sphere. The outcome of this invasion would also shape planar history in other ways. As stated,
propaganda
would demonstrate that the new way of organization and thinking trumped the old ways, which had, as demonstrated, significantly weakened their enemies. Secondly, the clans who did well in proving themselves through the invasion would be in positions of significant strength to bargain for additional territories, new worlds in the Kerensky cluster, or additional...
This part hurts. Not because it's not even hard to understand. It just... Everything Tex just said annoys me because I could see how using battlefield success as a way to bargain for more is literally the principle of a batchel and how every bit of clan society functions. It's why I don't really think of them as a functioning society. They're just a kleptocracy based on being able to pilot a mech. That's my biggest gripe with them. A lot of the times, not all the clans, of course, because there's quite a large variety, but there are a few that are literally that. Oh, so I've heard some really amazing things about Seawolf. Yeah, fuck yeah. I think I just had a new third favorite one. First being Ghost Bear, just because they're kind of awesome in lore. But more importantly, just the entire might makes profit. It's not an unusual concept for humanity. It's not an overdone trope. It's literally just how a lot of things work out in most of human history. The guys who do the best take the most and literally usually murder everyone else. The clan structure is a little unique, and the down periods later on where they don't murderize each other and just keep it limited is a nice little deviation from normal, just slaughter everything. But it just, you can see that it's like seeing the precursor to what we know it becomes, and I don't like what it becomes. Even if it makes sense, and seeing how it starts here is kind of a logical conclusion.
Resources from what they captured, but those clans who'd suffered during the invasion or failed to completely accomplish their objectives would be left weakened, and weakness was not something the New World would allow. While
they could just take it from them, and anyone who has the idea that isn't strong
was overwhelmingly a tactical success and a further masterstroke of planning and preparation. It was during this time.
Wait, what the fuck? Are those individualized drop pods for an entire mech? Also, what kind of mech is that? Is that a Phoenix mech? It can't be an assault. Although that does look like an Atlas down there. Although it could be something else. It's hard to tell, but I don't think I've ever seen this. I've seen various other things, like we could see the ship up here, just going back a few seconds. And no, they're not falling from the ship. They're falling from orbit. These are individualized drop pods for individual mechs. Thus individuals. But that is so cool. It has the individual thrusters, probably a fourth one in the back. The mech right there outside the blast radius, although the heat is probably going to murderize them. So it can't be high orbit because mechs don't deal well with heat, and falling through atmosphere would destroy them unless the atmosphere is that thin. I love the art on this. That is so cool. I want this. I want this. If anyone knows if there's a game piece representation of having these 4-point, I guess, tactical insertion mech pods. Oh, that's just yes. I'm used to the idea of dropping mechs in from planes. I just thought they literally flew low and just took the damage when they did a DFA. This looks like they're doing DFA on steroids. Oh.
It was during this time the clans would suffer a significant loss.
What?
Andrei Kerensky died on the 1st of December.
Oh, I thought they said significant.
In an ambush. Alone, he stood against a reinforced lance, and while he gave a good showing, he was slain by repeated deliberate shots to his cockpit. With his
deliberate shots to the cockpit. Did his brother set it up? Yeah, that's where I'm going immediately. Also, it's not an Irby. Irbies were an inner sphere thing that never went with the clans because it came after they left. What is that? It looks like an Irby, but it decided to get a arm lift. And also weird legs that go past the torso where they're mounted. I guess radiation? But why would they put the radiation aspect or to radiate heat away in the legs and not the torso or the guns where the heat would be? This is such a weird mech. Also, I just realized it has a chipmunk face. The teeth, eyes, nose. He died in a chipmunk. God damn it.
His death, one of the few people who could have shaped the clans in any meaningful way.
Really?
Or at least served as counterbalance to the doings of his
probably just
brother
not because
Nicholas,
it's something he didn't cover.
Dead. Some would suggest that Nicholas arranged the ambush to be rid of his brother so that
Nicholas being a bastard
would steer the clans.
No.
The truth of that is some matter of dispute. It is of historical note, however, that one of the greatest lasting influences on clanner society would be a matter of linguistics. To this day, clanners say F instead of affirmative and neg instead of negative. This was a habit of Andrei's from his youth, something he'd passed on, and clanners still keep alive.
Seriously? I can get it because he's the founder's brother, and he definitely wasn't assassinated. But that's something they do? Really? A speech impediment that they just take on? Okay, actually that makes perfect sense. Yeah, people do emulate the people who they are led to respect, and how they deify Nicholas. It kind of makes sense that the quirky habit of his brother would be something they just carry on. Also, it probably both amused and annoyed Nicholas, so he probably kept it with her. Just fucking Nicholas. I don't even know. I know he did it. It's like blaming Comstar. It just seems right.
By these elite warriors were at first thankful for the fighting to be over. They were impressed by the leadership and display of firepower, and they were further grateful that the clanners hunted down the most savage and cruel warlords of the Exodus Civil War and brought them to swift, if brutal, justice. As a curious observation, it is worth noting that the people he liberated hailed Nicholas as his father, as he bore a striking physical resemblance to the great man.
Oh, they didn't know he died.
Again, Nicholas had tried to emulate his father in many ways, not least wise his appearance, as he piloted an Atlas II, where his father had originally led from the front in an Atlas in the early stages of the American Civil War. But it is...
Wait, what? He was an Atlas? Huh. Now, I could be wrong here, but I thought he was in a different mech instead of an Atlas. I know he commissioned the Atlas. I just thought when it came to the Civil War, he was in something else. I thought it was a Centurion. Maybe I'm wrong. I mean, me, memory, it's probably a guarantee.
It is no great surprise that people mistook him for his father.
Yeah.
It had been
Did he shave his head?
20 years of horrific genocidal conflict that had muddied people's perception of history. All they knew was Kerensky was central to all of this. A Kerensky had led them out here, now a Kerensky was saving them. In light of their liberation and being saved from ruin, they saw Nicholas as the fabled savior Kerensky.
He's just the asshole who survived longest.
Correct these people's misconceptions. He chose to say nothing. Perhaps...
I know what Tex is about to say, or at least I suspect it, but a lot of his internal psychosis, let's go with that, from a lot of speculation I've seen here, Tex, other places, is that he had massive daddy issues. So this is probably both exactly what he wants and literally the most unhealthy way that could possibly have played out, because it's rubbing his inferiority issues in his face, but also giving him what he wants is saying, hey, I'm as good as my dad because people think I'm my dad, followed by, I'm not my dad. I'm not as good as him because they only think I'm good because I seem like him. I'm the second gummy of him, but I'm not because I know I'm not. It's just that internal mind fuckery that you know you're going to get when reality is giving you exactly what you want, exactly as you should never receive it. Yeah. Also, I'm just waiting for that moment where they realize, oh, shit, no, this guy's an asshole too. But it won't matter because they're basically the slave class to that time. And let's be honest, I know it's not every clan that treats the normal people that way, or the people who are not the absolute elite warriors. I have no idea what that accent was. But I also know there are some that are very much exactly like what I just said, and it annoys me to no end.
This fed his ego, or he truly saw himself as an inheritor of his father's greatness,
he definitely wants
ideology,
to see himself
and
that
power.
way.
Passing out food and supplies, bringing law and order, and mostly a new way of life, away from what these people had suffered, he slowly managed, in effect, to become the salvation these people so desperately needed.
Giving people what they need does have that effect.
Into that, I believe.
Especially when it's an easy answer you can actually respond to.
History, Nicholas Kerensky had planned for this moment. One of his first acts was to admonish the people, giving them his father's General Order 137 again. Some of them had forgotten.
Okay, I just want to take a second to appreciate this, and I'm pretty sure this is an edit. But before, we always saw Kerensky in front of the podium, and I think we've seen this image before, but with Kerensky behind it, but now they've edited in Nicholas, and his head is just huge by comparison here, but it gives us a good focal point. That said, editing Wolf behind him, the Clan Wolf, even I recognize that one. God, it just... I want to say it looks out of place, but with my entire thought process around Nicholas, it fits perfectly because he's not his dad. His dad looked, even when it was an edit, looked like he belonged in the image. He looked like he was a man of the time who could do it. Nicholas looks like he was photoshopped in, which he was, but also because that's literally what he's doing to the actual canon of BattleTech. He's essentially photoshopping himself in by trying to be someone else he's not. I mean, real life Photoshop in a fictional universe, but you get what I mean. And if you don't, I mean, that's part, of course, of me speaking.
Gotten about that in the intervening years of warfare. As education took a back seat to the needs of basic survival, he offered them the words of his father as more than a historical article of importance, though, but more as an article of faith. Nicholas Kerensky didn't just read his father's general order, he applied it to their current situation as one might a parable or guiding piece of philosophy. He preached to the people, interpreting his father's general order as a prophet might signs from heaven. He told them to grow and mature and to act in every way to eliminate the greed within them that had driven them to this path of destruction. He gave the people
the audacity of this bitch. Every time I hear anything about him, I just assume it's greed and his own selfish desires. And have him preach it is... yeah, it's audacity, but he's literally doing Demagogue 101. Make everyone else think you're great so it hides your own flaw and then say it's their flaws and then hold them to account for what you're doing yourself so that you're not doing it. They're just so wrong that they can't see it. It's literally Demagogue 101. Every single demagogue does this almost without fail. Yeah, this is...
people his father's words as gospel and offered through them a path to salvation. He offered them a road of honor, a belief system, a path that could transcend the misery they had inherited if they tried hard enough. He promised them a future they could take ownership of, and that, one day, when all was well, as his father had dreamed, they could return to the inner sphere and restore the peace of Star League once and for all.
Technically, Star League did form based on what they did. It's just they were now in the role of Amaris. And technically also Kerensky, because they both invaded it. Whatever, details.
And that was something they could believe. After everything they had endured and all of their suffering, it was what they felt was the wisest course of action.
And like many things, if you feel it's wise, you're usually an idiot.
This renewed belief in their purpose and a new way of life would give meaning to them. And why not? After all, Kerensky was their savior at this point. But first they had to tear away the last vestiges of the old world, the old ways. Any remnants of the corrupting, destructive inner sphere ideologies had to be left behind if
I just need a second. It's just watching as this moment is... this feels like the moment of the final death of Star League, where they've gone full on insane. They're giving up what they brought with them. And while that's getting rid of the bad, it's also getting rid of all the good. And they're going full on crazy with a class system that is going to fuck them up. I don't think it's a death of Star League, honestly, now that I think about it, but just, it feels like it's an approaching one. Like there's just one more nail in the coffin and it's going to hurt.
If they were to move forward, by Nicholas's interpretation of his father's wisdom, inherited from father to son, they quickly destroyed all that remained of the old world in any meaningful references to it. They filled their minds with devotion to personal and by extension clan growth. Nicholas Kerensky took the concentrated remnants of the Exodus Civil War and scattered them among the Pentagon worlds so as to never again allow people to congregate along political or cultural lines. And the people obeyed. They were traumatized by the American Civil War, the Exodus Civil War, and
Sakon? What's a Sakon? Of Clan Steel Viper. Oh, I should know much about them, but I've heard of cons, of course, but what's a Sakon? It's like an advisory con? Secondary con? Older con that didn't die of old age? I don't know. More importantly, in the beginning of this video, and in a lot of the Star League videos, when it came down to why they left, and I was always harping because Kerensky needed to give them, I just realized I'm actually reviewing Nicholas Kerensky, and Kerensky is right there, you see? There's Kerensky. And you know exactly who I'm talking about when I say that. But then there's Nicholas Kerensky, who I don't even view as a Kerensky. I just think of him as Nicholas. Just weird. I noticed that I was doing that after literally weeks and almost a couple months of it, actually. Weird. But I keep going, they needed something to drive them. And eventually, Kerensky gave them his general orders and his principles. And that was a thing, but I always felt they needed more, and I was harping on it in the earlier videos, and I hate that the part that is giving Nicholas power is doing exactly what I was harping about, because it's like, yeah, great, I was right. Thank you, reality, for making it happen in the way I wanted least, and I regret everything now.
And were by now tired of suffering. People's resistance had been completely beat down to a point that they were willing and ready to accept anything that promised a potentially happier tomorrow. Kerensky began shaping his new society as their leader and prophet of his father.
Huh. I thought it was Sea Wolf or Sea Fish or whatever it was. Sea Fox that was the intelligence one. Maybe it was Novicat, because intelligence guy is now the Khan. Still. You can tell, I know I said this before, the last time his image came up. That frosted tip short hair spiked up. Thank you, Lance Bass. Or other guy in, I think it was NSYNC? 90s boy band that had that style of hair. You can tell exactly when this image was created and exactly who it was based on. Although I don't know nearly enough about pop culture to realize that, apparently.
His wisdom, and communicated his directive often as much through extensive writings and directives. His process was to take the written and recorded words of wisdom from his father and draw from them unique interpretations which would then be applied to this new civilization. For example, General Alexander Kerensky's SLDF primer, 12 Principles of Command, is more or less the foundational blueprint for the clan's internal bidding process for...
One, never heard of Goliath Scorpion, but that's a really cool name. Two, an internal primer on... What was that about a primer? I was focusing on the image more.
Of command is more or less the foundational blueprint for the clan's internal bidding process for combat war trials and testing.
The fuck? I missed something. How do you go from one to the other? That actually is...
applied to this new civilization. For example, General Alexander Kerensky's SLDF primer, 12 Principles of Command, is more or less the foundational blueprint for the...
Oh, god damn it. That's how they went there? 12 Principles of Command. So they basically took a primer on how to be a good leader by getting the most out of the least, and that's because every primer always comes down to that about command. That's what every single one always comes down to. How they go about it, what they put alongside it, it's always about that. But it always has that getting more from less. So of course the bidding system's like, hey, we're going to do even better by doing more with less, is how you get that stupid system. It's a system that favors the arrogant, but the people who are aware of their own capabilities and doing exactly what they think, but also arrogant enough believing that they are exactly what they believe at, and without any concept that they could be wrong. I hate that system.
The clan's internal bidding process for combat war trials and testing.
Oh, this one hurts.
General Order 137, as interpreted by Nicholas Kerensky, is the basis for the...
Colleen Schmidt was Blood Spirit. Oh, yeah, no, it's the other one who went... Yeah. Oddly enough, considering a Black Watch started Blood Spirit, I don't think I've ever heard about them prior to this. Huh. That is weird now that I think about it. You think that would be one that would just come up a lot because Black Watch, but hell, even the ones that stayed in the Inner Sphere became massively well-known in lore as well as anywhere else, but maybe I just haven't got far enough yet.
Justice system. His shaping of society didn't stop there. Over time, he became not only a preacher for his father's vision, but a prophet of its wisdom. From the writings, orders, wishes, and publications of General Alexander Kerensky, his son Nicholas wove the tapestry of a new society. The changes to this new world would become increasingly radical as the last vestiges of the Inner Sphere were swept away.
You know, I was actually pausing to say that they're sweeping away the last vestiges of the Inner Sphere, except for all the good ones that Kerensky himself wanted to epitomize, and he was an example of. But then I had an uncomfortable thought that Nicholas wouldn't know any of that. He was born and grew up during the Amar Civil War when all of the good things were already dead. all of the great aspects of the Inner Sphere that had brought them together to at least form the hegemony, or with the hegemony to make everything work during the Star League era, all of the good aspects were dead because Amaris killed them and had broken it so thoroughly. And then he grew up in the ashes, and just seeing the Inner Sphere was a bunch of assholes doing their own thing, and his entire life reinforced it. So it kind of makes sense why he wouldn't value it, because he would never have seen a good aspect to it, because there had been none by the point he came around. I hate it because it makes him slightly more understandable, and I don't like that because I can't stand anything this guy did. But it makes sense that if he had been older, if he had seen more, if he had grown up a little earlier and seen things before all the shit hit the fan, how would that have changed him? How would that have given him a different perspective? I don't know. God damn it.
Into the dustbin of history.
End of part 1. Insert CD2 and press enter to continue. Oh god, I remember that so much.
And where precisely those choices would invariably lead is something we'll have to get to next time on part 2 of this lecture series.
Oh yeah, no bachelor, I remember that.
So for now, class is dismissed, and we will close the book on the clans for now. And
I know this is like an 8-bit game section that they would load in. Cool how they digitize that image to make it fit a little better. But I feel like I should recognize this game. Was there like a really old school colored but still 8-bit BattleTech game they're taking this from? Or is it that one spaceship game that people keep telling me about? I keep forgetting.
Pick up next time, next lecture. Remember that this will be on the test, and for the love of God, stay away from the clown on the station.
The fuck?
He's not haha funny. He's more a Pagliacci on bath salts.
Was that screaming or a TIE fighter?
Cadets are no match for elemental clan warriors.
What? They just walked right up to someone. The glorious Dracarys Combat Office of Command and Intelligence. We have taken every possible precaution against infiltrators. What have you, the infiltrator? We destroyed every person who looked at us without due respect within a 25-mile radius. We also killed their families and their they're going full moon cell on us. Guards are standing ready to destroy any assassins, spies, random people, or fools intent on disturbing our war plans. What is that music? Oh, these godless Puritans. What war crimes look like? Scout them into a new grave. Okay, I'm good. Sorry, I am now going to unironically, instead of saying someone should go F themselves, I'm going to say they're going to scout themselves. And no one's going to get it. But I will. That's going to amuse the hell out of me. Scout them into a new grave. Next week on Adventures of Steiner Assault Squad. Oh, Steiner Assault Squad. They are running. They will not help them at all. They didn't have defenders. They will only die very tired.
Tonight on WBPL 76.
News, probably trustworthy.
WBPL 76 presents Community Service Theater. Duncan Fisher in William Shakespeare's Macbeth.
Community service. So basically, it's not even just community theater. This is the punishment. What the hell did Duncan Fisher do?
That's right. Thanks to the court settlement, we have Duncan
for criminal
Fisher
charges. Welcome to community service theater.
I do mean that
Solaris 7 Correction Rehabilitation Center. Comstar Home Video.
Yes. Hello, everybody. This is Duncan Fisher.
Public intoxication problem.
Sure. Let's pick it up where I left
on
off.
the eyes.
Methought I heard a voice cry, "Sleep no more! Macbeth does murder sleep. The innocent sleep.
Murder sleep?
Sleep that
been a long
knits
time
up
since
the
I've listened to
raveled
Macbeth.
sleeve
Is
of
that how that goes?
care. The death of each day's life, sore labor's bath, balm of hurt minds, great nature's second course.
How much alcohol
Chief
do they give him for
nourisher
this?
in life's feast. Speaking of, if you want a feast in life, you want to order Mech Pale, Fits
What?
fits into any
Mech Pail, a Comstar all-natural food product. Food storage emergencies, everyday meals, food storage emergencies. Shelf life up to 30 years, just add water. 132 servings, recipes included. Why is that a dinosaur chicken? Less chalk than name brands. A meal fit for a warrior. Warning, live animal inside. Contains less than 2% fiberglass. Oh, it's like going to McDonald's. Got it. What the hell?
backpack.
It's only 9 ounces?
Then holds as much food
7
as
pounds.
you can eat. And boy, is there a lot of it. It's just chock full.
Is this different than the
vitamins
Fiesta
and
Pail or the
things.
upgraded version?
Now with less chalk. Mech Pail.
At least chalk is
From
edible.
The makers of
It's
Bag
basically-
of Glass and Box
Really?
of Farts.
I'm going to refrain from making the obvious, oh, I see you've gone to Taco Bell in the future joke. And let's just go back to the fact that did they really just do this? That they did. They
Bag
really
of
just went
Glass.
Toy Story on a bag of glass in the font. Why? And why does it amuse me? Not for ages 1 through 9. But if you're 10-year-old, have fun with the glass, kiddies.
And Box
Now
of
it's sharper than ever.
Farts. Yeah,
Oh my
yeah, fucking sweet. I ate that shit. Reminds me of this one time where I was in the Valhalla Club getting totally tanked, and this guy came in and
That's
he
not
just
the end of the play. You can't go off script. This is only Act 2.
Act 2? Jesus Christ, how long is this piece of shit?
5?
It's a tale told by an idiot. Wait.
Wrong
Don't I
play.
get to stab anybody else? This thing's boring as hell.
Later in the play.
All the cool shit happens off screen.
Kind of does,
Who
yeah.
wrote this anyway?
William Shakespeare, Jesus Christ, just stick to the script.
I cast Fireball.
Oh God, why is this happening?
Hey, Discount Dan here, and let me tell you about my new business. Discount Dan's pretty above board house of bargains. Why'd I call it Discount Dan? It's pretty above board house of bargains? Because if you call it Discount Dan's big old pile of rusted broken shit, nobody shows up. Nobody. Not even the people looking for the mountain of cocaine that surely doesn't exist under the pile. Or does it? I don't know, but I'm passing the savings on to you. Let me tell you what I got in this pile.
Where do they
I got all
find this
sorts of
guy?
things that I
Because
bulldozed
he
out of the
just-
Steiner arena. All
stock
sorts of things.
footage of
Mech rods,
crazy
mech
guy who
seats,
looks
mech decals, mech rust,
trustworthy?
genuine mech rust. And it's all sold by the pound. By the pound. Can you imagine what you might find? This
No.
is genuine grade D scrap that may or may not contain the barely conscious
Tinnitus?
remains of Mechwarriors too stupid to eject. But don't take my word for it.
I found a needle with my foot. I need a doctor.
Yeah,
There's
tetanus.
this guy dragging himself out of the pile. The Discount Dan just dragged him back and said, "Not so fast, fucko. I think he needs to go to the hospital."
I found this really cool boot, but there's a foot in it. There was a really cool piece of metal that said Clan Snake Cobra, and you know, Discount Dan helped
Snack.
me put in my truck.
So you can put
He
SNEK.
drove away in my truck, and I kinda want it back.
Look at those fine, satisfied customer testimonials that I didn't record without their knowledge. Good job, people, for saying words with your mouth holes. Speaking of mouth holes, boy, do I have some greasy porn straight from Canopus.
The best part is I'm absolutely certain that is a real thing. Mostly because my Discord has enlightened me to the levels of depravity this fandom has. It doesn't come up often, and then you mention Canopus and all bets are off. Oh dear God, man.
I fight my enemies because that's what I'm paid to do.
Tex is not claiming that he
Never
owns any part of
hesitate
BattleTech.
to
This
act or
is a
even
very
think it
indication.
through. I retire
500 people have tried to find out who really owns it, and I realize the answer is a shitload of corporate lawyers. Don't sue tax taxes, no money if individuals require playing. Lots of drugs, Patreon, nice. This is a work of opinion from an asshole. You've been warned. Tex just likes it. It's just a voice that likes
I
whiskey.
just hope I can get by.
So normally this is where I would say something about how the video was cool and what I think about it, but honestly, I made a mistake after finishing this video. I looked at the comments, and usually Tex's videos are pretty good. They're not as bad as normal YouTube comments. And then I found one by Pen the Mighty, and I'm going to read it to you just to make sure you suffer along with me. Kerensky didn't die of a heart attack, but a broken heart. Everything he'd fought for turned to ash before his very eyes. BattleTech, come for the mechs, stay for the tragedy. I hate how much I agree with this, and this has just become my new headcanon, despite actively trying not to think about it. Yeah. So this is a giant pile of ow. If nothing else, it distracts me from the residual pain of literally having part of my skull ripped out. On the other hand, I think I prefer that pain. It hurts less. Yeah. Tex did a good job of making sure that what could have easily been a very dry textbook reading of the lore was gripping, had emotional moments, had great delivery, showed the highs and the lows, and the lower lows, and the oh god, why is it still going down lows? And had the music and the editing to back it up. Kind of wish they would suck at it so it wouldn't hurt as much. And we're just going to ignore the fact that people have warned me multiple times that this is part 1. The happy one! I'm not looking forward to part 2, sort of. It's like I am, because I know it's going to be really good, because it's Tex and his entire crew and everyone from Black Pants Legion on this is really doing a great job, but also, I don't want them to do a great job on this. I regret sobriety. I am sober right now. I have coffee. I regret this. It's making me awake. I'm going to go do something fun, like bash my head into a wall to forget. That'd be nice. Overall, though, I am glad I watched this. If only to say that I've seen it and I know what's going on. Still can't bring myself to look at spoilers, though. So all of my belly aching about how painful it's going to be, I'm still looking forward to it. I'm still going to do it. Yeah, that's a masochistic streak if I ever had one. Again, you guys know the deal. Link below, original video. It's Tex. Hit him up. There's a link below. When you're done, leave a like, comment, subscribe. And warn me about what exactly I need as an alcoholic proof for the next video, because I'll be taking notes. Yeah. All the same, I'll see you guys then. Adios.